Good afternoon, dear students. How are you all? I hope everything is fine. Today I brought the third part of the topic adhesives of your syllabus in Industrial Chemistry Unit 5. You have read what are adhesives, what are different type of the adhesive with the examples, adhesive action. What are the physical factors influencing the addition as well as the chemical factors influence the addition process? Now we should learn the bonding process by the adhesive in this lecture. So these are the following points we should cover in this lecture. The bonding process by the adhesives included various points like preparation process of the adherent surface, the preparation of the adhesives, the assembling of the adhesive, the application of the temperature and the pressure, the conditioning after bonding. What is the learning outcome of this lecture? The students are able to understand about the bonding process in the adhesive, including various steps, the preparation of the adherent surface, preparation of the adhesive to apply, assembling of the adhesive, applications of the temperature and pressure, and conditioning after bonding. So let's start. What is the bonding process by the adhesives? So how the bonding taking place using the adhesive? We should learn this. The bonding process, the exact bonding process we can say of any we have applied the adhesive, it generally differs because many of the surfaces where we have applied the adhesive, it is different. That comes in the nature of the surface, adherent surface, the composition of the adhesives we are using or which type of the adhesive we are using here on that surface, and the service condition required. There the application, what are the service conditions required there. So exact bonding process involves each one of the point to see which goes on having the difference. That's why we should follow the general steps which can be common to most of the adhesive application. The first one is the preparation of the adherent surface. What is adherent surface? It is the surface on which we have to apply the adhesive. So it can be of wood, it can be of metal, it can be of plastic. So let's see if it is of wood or the metal, the surfaces. If they are prepared, that they should be machined to provide the flat and the true plane surface. It should be prepared like we get the flat and a true plane surface of a wood or a metal so that the proper joining takes place by using a thin adhesive and the film can be made. We apply a thin layer of the adhesive, a good film can be made. So that is the adherent surface we can prepare of wood or the metal. Now if it is of plastic, they are to be pressed under the high temperature and the pressure for bonding together. So we should go for high temperature and pressure for bonding together with an adhesive, and they are slightly sandblasted to expose some of the fresh surfaces which help in the better specific addition. So a slight surface is exposed with using the sand for providing the better specific addition. So if your metal surface or metal adherent surface is having the impurities like oil and grease, so it should be prepared before machine to get the flat and the plain surface. So before the bonding, they are generally given the chemical treatments. They are to be prepared like that. We can go for using the removal of the grease and oil by using the solvent washing method. So you can use the solvent washing by using an appropriate solvent. You can remove the oil and grease impurities, or you can have the immersion of that metal in the acid or the alkali or both. Such chemical treatments improve the specific addition. This go for improving your addition mechanism due to the removal of the low cohesive strength materials like metallic oxides from their surfaces. Generally, the impurity is responsible for forming the metallic oxides on the surface. If it is removed, so metallic oxide is like low cohesive material which do not go for more good binding with the adhesive. That's why it is removed. And if it is like the fourth adherent surface we are talking about, the wood containing the oily or the resinous extract. If your wood adherent surface is there, it also contain any oily substances or the resinous some extract is there. So they are generally given a specific again a solvent or the alkaline surface treatments to improve their bonding property. So it is clear that whether your adherent surface is pure metal, pure wood, not having any impurity, or the plastic surface, you can apply the first and second step. And if it is having the impurities, the oily impurities or the grease-like impurities, you should go for the washing methods, and the chemical methods are applied to remove the impurities, and then the addition mechanism takes place. Use an adhesive for the bonding. Now the second step is the preparation of our adhesives to apply on the adherent surface. So how you go for your preparation of the adhesive? It consists of dissolving in the proper solvent or melting in the case of the solid adhesive. How you want to use your adhesive? If you want to use in a liquid manner, so you have to dissolve in a proper solvent, or either you are applying the adhesive at a high temperature or melting it in case of a solid adhesive if you want to melt it, or a thinning liquid you want. So adhesive and the addition of the adhesives like catalyst, fillers, extenders, plasticizers and hardeners, including if you want more property by the adhesive, you can have some addition of the additives in the adhesive. So simple, you are using an adhesive or you want more property from an adhesive, you can use the catalyst, you can use in that the fillers, the extenders, plasticizers and hardeners. So the next step come under after preparation of the surface and the preparation of the adhesive. We have to apply the adhesive on the surface. That is the application of the adhesive. It is very much necessary that the uniform application of the correct quantity of the adhesive over the surface, it should be prepared or carried out. So how you have your uniform application over the surface? There are the following steps you can apply the adhesive on the surface to get that uniformity. The first is by brushing the adhesive over the surface. This is the simple process that can be done by spraying it. If it is a liquid, it can be easy. The third, mechanical, if it is having a large objects, we can go for the roller coating method by laying a film or the sheet of the dry adhesive. If you are using a dry adhesive, you can apply a uniform film or the sheet over the surface. You can have by laying the pressure sensitive tapes of the adhesive. That is also by the pressure sensitive tape you can apply the adhesive. And in case of the chemical reactive system, one of its component, like in case of thermosetting resin like bacillite resin or urea formaldehyde resin, it is applied on the other surface also to prevent the reactivity. We can apply to the other surface also when we are using the two surface for the addition. So in case of a immediately reacting and the hardening components of the adhesive, we can go for using the components resin as an adhesive, and the catalyst can be applied to the adherent surface by the double spray of these components directly to the adherent surface, so that the mixing takes place at the very moment of the application, immediately to the application. If you are able to see it is reactive or hardening taking place, so two components can be easily double sprayed on the surface. So the next step come after applying the adhesive on the surface application, how to assemble the bonding of the adhesive coated adherents, how you go for the assembling. We have a different type of the adhesive used, and so we have a different modes of the assembling. The main mode of the assembling we have discussed here, like we have applied thermosetting adhesive, so molten thermosetting adhesives. For that, if we have applied thermosetting adhesive, we can go for dry and develop the strength rapidly. So if we go for drying process, we can have the adherent surface go for assembling very immediately. So it is a simple process. If we have used the thermosetting resin, apply the thermosetting resin, drying can be done to assemble. In case of thermoplastic or the rubber solutions in the organic solvents, require air drying process. Air drying. If we have used thermoplastic or any rubber like solution as an adhesive, we can use air drying for very long period. It develops the tackiness also and avoid the blister or voids, means gaps, voids space formation in the bond film. So this is not so effective assembling in case of thermoplastic or a rubber solution, but it require a very long period air drying, and it develop voids or the gaps which is not suitable for the strength. So in case of woodworking adhesives, the adhesive which I used to apply the addition on the adherent surface wood, the adherent surface are held together in a close contact. It is necessary to have a close contact with the adhesive. That's why they go for assembling. So it go for assemble a joint which is allowed to may remain in a closed assembly for a certain period. So the close contact is essential for having the assembly or for having the addition in the wood adherent surface. This close contact of the assembly results in the partial loss of the solvents. Slowly, the loss or evaporation of the solvent takes place, or the completion of the chemical reaction in place of the thermosetting adhesive. So the close contact over a certain period, it is required for assembling. So either it goes for the evaporation of the solvent, partial loss of the solvent, or any kind of chemical reaction takes place by the thermosetting. So by doing so, there is an increase in the consistency of the adhesive. It go for preventing an excessive squeeze out when pressure is applied subsequently. So it develop a good bonding. So even a pressure is applied, it reduces the squeeze of the adhesive from the surface. So after the assembling of the adhesive to form a joint, the application of the pressure and the temperature is required. When the applied adhesive on the adherent has attained a required consistency, have you seen in the previous slide, there proper consistency in the joint we get over a certain period of time. If we get a required consistency, the bonding pressure is applied to the assembly joint where the bonding take place. The applied pressure should be such that it is sufficient. The pressure should be applied such that it is sufficient to cause the liquid adhesive to flow uniformly over the surfaces. It is necessary to see out the pressure, how much pressure it is required. It is required to cause the liquid adhesive to flow the uniformly over the surface, so that no gaps or voids or air bubbles remain in the film. So this is very important here. The one important thing, the applied pressure should be such that it should spread over uniformly the adhesive we have applied, so no gaps and the air bubbles remain in the film. In case of we are using the pressure sensitive adhesive, so pressure sensitive, if you are using the adhesive, they are having a fast setting action. So the bonding pressure is released there immediately after the application. If you have used the pressure sensitive adhesives, so you have to remove the pressure immediately after its application. In case of slow setting adhesive, if we have a very slow setting action of the adhesive, like the slow setting action is on thermosetting resins, the bonding pressure is maintained till the chemical reactions or the process have taken place up to the required degree and the full bond strength has been developed. So in case of very slow setting adhesives like thermosetting resins, the pressure should be maintained up to till that the reaction takes place and the required strength we get. So over a certain period we have to go for applying the pressure. So the pressure condition should be seen. If you have used the pressure sensitive adhesive, immediately you have to release the pressure. If it is very fast, if it is slow, it should be applied up to a certain degree, and the pressure should be used such like that the reactions which are involved or the strength which is to be developed, it should be appropriate. Now if we see the temperature of the assembled joint required to be maintained. Understood? So at that temperature where the assembling take place in the over the surface by using the adhesive, it depends on the type of the mechanism involved in the development of the strength of the adhesive film. So the temperature of the assembled joint should be maintained because it depends on the type of the mechanism or how you have applied the adhesive over the surface. and which kind of development we have get. Like for example, in case of the molten adhesive, cooling under pressure is needed. On the other hand, in case of the chemically reactive or the drying adhesive, the heating under pressure is required. So if we have a molten adhesive, we in a liquid adhesive, you are applying, cooling under pressure is needed. On the other hand, if it is reactive drying adhesive, heating under pressure is required. So temperature should be maintained in such that conditions. So the last step involved in the bonding process is conditioning after bonding. After the bonding takes place, bond strength develops. What you do, that's the last step. So like if we have the thermoplastic adhesives and they are joined by heating under pressure method, we have applied we should go for heating it, maintaining the temperature and applying the pressure. So the joints needs cooling. After that, cooling of the adhesive film below the certain temperature, it provides the bond strength. So after heating under pressure, it should be cooled below a certain temperature. That comes in the conditioning of thermoplastic adhesive. In case of thermosetting resins, we have it is conditioned by keeping them for some time after the release of the pressure and the bond strength it develops. So we have to keep the thermosetting resin after bonding. It goes for keeping for some time. So after release of the pressure, we have the good strength, good bond strength develops in case of thermosetting. So the different conditioning methods applied according to the type of the application of an adhesive you have used over the surface. So these all are the 6 steps involved in the bonding process in the adhesive, in the preparation of the adherent surface, then preparation of the adhesive, then we go for application of the adhesive, then assembling of the adhesive, application of the temperature and the pressure, and then conditioning after bonding. Thank you and take care.